Hey guys, today we're gonna partake in a super non-controversial DCU Batman Fancast video.
Let's find out. What? Bloody hell!
As most people coming to this video know, I am a huge Batman fan, so I thought I would give you guys a little insight on who I would like to see play DCU Batman. I'm also going to include at least one project that each of these actors have been in,
Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
just so that you can see their acting abilities on your own if you want to afterwards and judge my takes and see if you think I'm super off base. Also, short little disclaimer, skip ahead if you're not interested. All these fan casts are just my own opinions, largely from how I understand the character and what I think would make a good Batman. Maybe a different opinion than what you think would be a good Batman. And that's okay. That doesn't bother me, and it sure as shit shouldn't bother you.
I'm Batman.
One thing we need to understand is that at the time that I'm making this video, no one is officially cast, and none of us are the casting directors or know exactly what they're looking for, acting-wise or age-wise or anything like that. One thing I can tell you is I'm not going to be taking into account how physically built someone is, which is the way some people seem to be fan casting DCU Batman, is how physically built they are right now, as if the gym doesn't exist. For example, David Cornswet was super skinny when he was cast as Superman, but obviously he bulked up for the movie, and I would expect anyone who gets the role of Batman to do the same, so I'm just simply not taking into account how muscular someone is. I don't care. And if I had to bet, I don't think casting directors really care about that either, but I digress. Alright, let's get into it. Starting off with one of my favorite top picks for Batman, Oliver Jackson Cohen. Now, me, personally, this guy is going in S tier. He is in the Netflix hit show The Haunting of Hill House, and he is absolutely fantastic in it. He also just gives me Can Comfort a Small Child vibes, which is something I would love to see in the DCU Batman. He has the aesthetics for what I want to see in DCU Batman. I can see him playing the dark brooding knight and also the playboy Bruce Wayne really, really well. He has it all as far as acting goes. I think this guy would be fantastic as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Alright, next up we got Nate Mann. He is going in B tier. Now, initially when this guy came out, I was like, oh my god, this guy is Batman / Bruce Wayne, which I still think he would do a good job. And he is a good actor. I watched him in Masters of the Air on Apple TV. I do think he's good enough, but I just think there's a lot of other better options at this point for Batman. Like, when this guy first came out, I think it's because people were starved of good Batman fan casts. And at this point, I just think there's way better options. But if he was cast, I wouldn't be mad whatsoever. I still think he would do a good job. I just think it's unlikely this guy even gets an audition because he doesn't really have a PR team like some of these other guys do. And he purely got popular just off fans putting two and two together. I highly doubt this guy would be cast as Batman, but I would be seated if he was, and I wouldn't be, you know, mad about it. I do think there is much better options at this point though. All right, next up, Brandon Sklenar. All right, I'd put this guy in D tier. Let me explain. This is probably the most popular Batman fan cast of all of them at this point. To me, this guy does not look like Bruce Wayne or Batman in the slightest. I understand he's very tall, he does UFC, he's already muscular, all things I just don't care about for DCU Batman, I'm sorry. I watched his show 1923, amazing show by the way, just to see if I'd feel any different about this fan cast after I'd watched it. Maybe, you know, his acting would blow me away. I think he's a fine actor, he's not a bad actor by any means, but I definitely wasn't wowed at all, and if anything, it kind of only reaffirmed the way I already felt about him being DCU Batman if that was to happen. But I'm leaving this to the DCU casting director and Gunn to decide because I am not in the casting room. Like I said before, to me this guy just doesn't have really anything besides the height I'd want for Batman or Bruce Wayne.
Master Wayne, I hate to see you like this.
I'm fine, Alfred. Soon I'll learn cat and be able to communicate with my parents. I mean, my cats. Ugh.
Alright, I know I probably angered a lot of people by putting him in D tier, so I would like us to all take a little breather, and I would like to do a mini Nightwing fan cast. Alright, unfortunately, unlike Batman, a lot of these fan cast actors I haven't seen a ton of projects with, so this is more going off vibes and aesthetics for the most part. I'm less educated on it, but you know, it is what it is. Let's hop right in. Alright, first up, I put Asher Angel in D. Now listen, I know this guy's a super popular fan cast for Dick Grayson. I personally don't see it. I've seen some other people say he's already secretly cast in the role, which just also isn't true. People are a little bit crazy on the internet with saying people are secretly cast, I'm gonna be honest. I think it's fine when people come on the internet and say, oh, I'd really love to play this character, I think they're super cool and awesome, you know, that's super cool. But sometimes people go a little bit overboard and it gets a little desperate and feels a little forced. I think you should be able to go to an audition and lay your cards down, and that to be where like you really put it all on the line rather than it being on the internet, but maybe that's a boomer take. Ash Randall just doesn't give me the golden boy vibe. Alright, next up, Liam Woodruff. I'm putting this guy in A. I've seen this one a lot, and it's one I actually really like for Nightwing. He has a bit more of a baby face than my #1 pick for Nightwing at this moment that is coming up, but I still think this guy could definitely pull it off. And plus, by the time he'd even be Nightwing, he might look a little bit older and might look less of a baby face because it's a couple years out at this point. You never know, but for now, I'm gonna keep him in A, and he is my #2 pick for Nightwing. Next up, Hudson Williams. All right, I'm putting this guy in C. I've seen this guy a lot because of Heated Rivalry, a show I haven't watched, and I'm sure he's a fine actor. He seems like a really nice guy, but I don't see this at all for Dick Grayson, Nightwing, Golden Boy, DCU. Doesn't click for me. All right, next up, Jamie Flatters, F. All right, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where the fuck this one even came from. I don't see him as Nightwing in any capacity, no diss to him whatsoever. But I genuinely just do not like this fan cast at all. I don't see it in any shape, way, or form. All right, last up, my #1 pick for Nightwing. This is one I haven't seen at all from anyone, and I'm scared I'm gonna get cooked from this. Costa D'Angelo. All right, this guy's my #1 pick. I hope this isn't too controversial. Like I said, Nightwing stands, please don't cut me. But hear me out. I've been watching the show called Tell Me Lies on Hulu. Great show, might I add. And I saw this guy in the most recent couple of episodes, and I just instantly got Nightwing. To me, he fits the pretty boy aesthetic. I think he's 6 feet taller, which is a little bit taller than I'd want for Nightwing, but I don't think it's the hugest deal. He is a newer actor, so it would be a little bit more of a risk to give this guy a shot, but I see the potential there. I'm not super educated on Nightwing Fancast, so I know I left a lot out, but just thought I'd introduce you to someone that is kind of a newer actor and could be good.
I thought you were 4.
It's been 8 years. That's how time works, Dickwad.
All right, back to the Batman Fancast. All right, next up we got Henry Cavill. Now listen, this one is probably a troll. Honestly, I wouldn't really want to see it, but he definitely looks the role. I'd also be a little bit hesitant just because I don't think Henry Cavill as an actor has a ton of range. What I've seen him in, I've liked for the most part, but I just think he doesn't have the acting layers for what I would want to see in someone who plays the Dark Knight and Bruce Wayne, and it just wouldn't go well. But it's an interesting think piece for sure. All right, next up, Theo James. I'm gonna put him in C tier. Now, I think he's a great actor, and I've seen him in things like Divergent or the Netflix show The Gentleman. That's a great show. But his face feels a little too aggressive to play Bruce Wayne and Batman, if that makes sense. I just think there's better options for the role, but I would give him a shot. All right, next up, Jensen Ackles C tier. Now, I love his voice work in The Long Halloween and Under the Red Hood. I love him in Supernatural. I love him in The Boys. I am a huge Jensen Ackles stan, actually. But right now, I don't think he would fit what we would need for DCU Batman. I do know he did dress up as Batman once, so I know this guy really does love the character. And if he was younger, I probably would see it. But right now, for what we need for DCU Batman, I do not see him fitting the vision, sadly. All right, next up, Aaron Taylor Johnson, A tier. Now, this man is a great actor. I can see him being Bruce and Batman. However, he is 5'11". But he's in that range where if he got 2-inch pump shoes, he would be 6'1". That would be okay with me. He also possesses some of those darker features I would like to see in Batman, but he doesn't feel like he has an aggressive face like Theo James. You might remember him as Pietro, Wanda's brother, aka Quicksilver, in Age of Ultron, or 28 years later, one of his more recent performances. He is amazing in that movie. I super recommend it. He's also in Fall Guy, Bullet Train, Kick-Ass. I mean, this guy's been in some pretty good movies. He's honestly in the top 5 actors I'd probably like to see in the role, and I hope he'd at least get an audition. All right, next up, Chris Pratt, F tier. Now listen, we know I'm from Guardians of the Galaxy, which is my favorite MCU trilogy, or Parks and Rec, things like that, but he doesn't have anything I'd want for DCU Batman. His features are too soft to play the brooding knight. I don't think I could take him serious enough to play Batman after having been so iconic as Star-Lord already. I guess he's tall enough, he's 6'2", but that's not enough, bro. I don't care. I think this fan cast is crazy. It's also already confirmed that he is not going to be Batman. He's already said he's talked to Gunn about it. Not happening. So I thought I would just throw this one in here for fun. All right, next up, Tom Bateman, B tier. So same thing with Theo James. I think his face is just a little too aggressive. It would work for Batman, clearly. I think he'd look fine under the cowl. But for Bruce Wayne, his face is just too aggressive. I'd want someone with a little bit of a kinder face. And I don't mean that as a diss. I think this guy is a great actor. He was in the Netflix show Behind Her Eyes. Phenomenal in that show. Phenomenal. He's going to be in The Love Hypothesis, a rom-com coming up soon. Super excited for that. And I wouldn't be mad if he was cast. I'd be seated. And I'd go into it with an open mind, but I'm just not fully there with this one. All right, another little mini casting break. This one is for Joker.
I am your mayor, and I approve this message.
First up, Cameron Monaghan. He actually played the Joker in the series Gotham, which I recommend to Batman fans. It's not a perfect show, but it's a fun watch.
Exactly, my man. Oh, that is so spooky. That is me to a T. These other bozos, I don't know, but you're singing my song.
Quiet.
He was also in Shameless as the main character and has also been Cal Kestis in the Jedi Survivor games. I think he's a great actor, and I think in the DCU he would bring that supreme Joker he showed us in Gotham. Maybe even a way more comic accurate live action Joker than we've gotten in the past, and would get people really excited about a character that has been kind of oversaturated. Alright, next up, William Dafoe. I'm putting this guy in C. Now before you guys come for me with this has everything to do with age, okay? I think it would be a debilitating factor for the DCUs right now if someone as old as William Dafoe was playing Joker. He's been in things like Spider-Man, Nosferatu, The Last Temptation of Christ. This guy is a great, phenomenal actor. But I fear his time to play the Clown Prince of Crime has passed. This is unfortunately one of those could have been generational moments, but that time is done and over. All right, next up, Jamie Campbell Bower, A tier. This guy was the highlight of Stranger Things Season 5 for me. I absolutely love this guy as an actor, and I think his villainy is great. He'd play an insanely good Joker, and I only have him in A tier, not S tier, because I think he'd make an even better Scarecrow. I'd be seen if he was cast as Joker regardless, because he is so talented, and he would obviously do him justice. But imagine him as Jonathan Crane with little cunty glasses, serving face, dosing at fear drugs like they're candy, and giving Gothamites their living nightmares.
Didn't you know, Dark Knight? You can't fight fear.
I personally would rather see him do that, but Joker, you know, I'd be down for both. All right, next up, David Howard Thornton. This guy is gonna go in D for me. He plays Art in the Terrifier movies. He's a fine actor, but I wouldn't want him to be Joker because there's honestly just better choices, and those Terrifier movies make me a little bit sick. I would not want to have to, you know, correlate DCU Joker with the Terrifier movies. No thanks. All right, next up, Jack Quaid, B tier. Now, I've seen his Fancast a bit, and I high-key see it. Quaid is an amazing actor, okay? He's been in The Boys, watched him in The Companion, and Novocaine, and that's where I really saw the potential for Joker. I can see him balance being silly and devious really well. I think he's a really underrated actor, and I can see him doing justice with Joker given the right direction. And I also just really want to see more projects. He's one of my favorite Nepo babies. However, in the DCU, I think there's other roles he'd be better suited for, so that's why I have him in B for this particular role. I would still like to see him in the DCU though. All right, my number one pick for Joker, and probably yours too, Bill Skarsgård. S tier. All right, this is probably basic to people that are aware of DC Fancast discourse, but I really don't think anyone could do Joker like Bill Skarsgård could. He plays Pennywise in It and in Welcome to Derry, and I just think he's a really great actor, man. I think he's really good. I'd bet money that this guy would be able to give us a Joker that would be as revered as Heath Ledger's take on the character. That's how confident I am in his ability to be an amazing Joker. And I'd specifically want him to play a more classic Joker and kind of more fashion like Mark Hamill's Joker in the Batman animated series. I could totally see his smile just mirroring that and being able to be super hilarious and also freakishly evil. I want this casting to happen so incredibly bad. I think this would be such a miss if he wasn't given at least an audition. I will attempt to not be upset if this guy doesn't end up being Joker, but it will be really, really hard. All right, back to Batman Fancast discourse. Next up, Paul Anthony Kelly. This guy just started acting, and his show Love Story just premiered on Hulu this week. I watched the first couple episodes, and it's honestly really good. This guy's kind of tied with my number one pick for Batman. I want to watch the whole show before I make my decision because I like watching an entire project before I make a decision on a fan cast that like is more serious. But from what I've seen so far, this just might be the living incarnate of Bruce Wayne. He has the angular look needed for Bruce that just looks old money, not aggressive. I could see him comforting a small child, kind of like Oliver Jackson Cohen. I think this dude would totally rock the Batman cowl, okay? Totally. If this guy keeps acting as good as he has been in the first couple episodes of this love story show, this is an S tier pick and possibly my #1 generational Batman fan cast.
Alfred, are the ears too big? I think they're too big.
All right, next up, Jacob Elordi. I'm putting him in B tier. Now listen, he's 6'5", Gordon Sweat is 6'4". I don't like the idea of Batman being taller than Superman because I think Superman should be at least an inch or two taller than Batman. But I think he's an amazing actor. He was in Frankenstein, one of the best movies of 2025. I think he's one of the most talented actors up and coming right now. So I would still be seated and I'd still watch it. I just think there's better choices right now. John Hamm, C tier. This guy is an amazing actor. He was in Mad Men, one of the most underrated shows of all time, I feel. I just think he's too old and he doesn't have the look I'd want for Bruce Wayne or Batman. But he's a great, great actor. I can't recommend Mad Men enough. Next up, Jake Gyllenhaal, B tier. Now listen, iconic actor, more than has the acting chops for Bruce. However, I don't get Batman or Bruce Wayne when I look at him. Once I was in the theater seeing him play the character, he probably would be able to sell me on it. He's been in things like Nightcrawler, Zodiac, all kinds of things. Like if you wanted an A-list actor, this is probably the one that you'd get because he's very passionate about the character. Is a generational actor, is going to be willing to play him for I think a long time. And I think he could do a good job. I just think there's better options. Next up, Lee Pace. F tier. I'm sorry. I know there's some Lee Pace stands out there that really think this guy just should be Batman. I think he's too old now to see him as Bruce or Batman at all. He's been in some recent movies like The Running Man, Captain Marvel, is also in the Hobbit movies. He's a good actor, he just doesn't fit anything I'd want to see at all in DCU Batman. Alright, next up, Austin Butler. I'm putting this guy in A tier. I think Austin Butler's a fantastic actor. I can see him pulling off Bruce Wayne so easily. I think he could also make a great Batman, and he has Oscar-level acting ability. I think he could pull up the layers of Batman really well. He's been in a lot of really great movies recently, such as Dune Part 2, Elvis, Caught Stealing, and he's got even more in The Cooker coming out. I think he'd be a great catch right now to lock in for DCU Batman, but I think some other actors fit the character more and would probably be more willing to be committed to a franchise like this. But I would by no means complain if this guy was casted as Batman. Next up, Jonathan Bailey. I'm personally putting him in B tier. I think he's a great, great actor, but he is 5'11", could 2-inch pump shoes, like I said before, could make it, doable. Bailey has been in things like Bridgerton, Wicked. He would totally rock Bruce Wayne. I also think he'd do a good Batman with some direction. I'd be super seated for it. Do you think there's actors who would fit the role better in various aspects than him? Recently, Jonathan Bailey and David Cornswood did Actors on Actors, and they have a lot of chemistry, so I could totally see it working. I just think there's actors that would fit the role better in various aspects than him, so I feel comfortable letting him just sit and be. Alright, next up, my #1 pick for DCU Batman, Tom Brittney. I've been watching his show Grantchester recently. He is a phenomenal actor. I could see this guy being Bruce Wayne, Batman. I literally watched him comfort a small child in the show. He's totally got it all. He was also almost Superman. He was runner-up for Superman. And in canon, Batman and Superman, they look kind of similar. So I could totally see this guy sitting next to Corn Sweat being Batman / Bruce Wayne. He's tall enough, he's got, the build, he's got everything that I would want to see in DCU Batman. He has kind of the exact look I think of when I think of someone who would play DCU Batman. And James Gunn already loves him. Like, he thinks this guy's a great actor too. So if I was to say anyone has kind of the best chance right now, it would be probably me, Tom Brittney, but I don't really have anything negative to say. I think for me, he just checks every box. All right, finally, the last option for DCU Batman. Imagine a world where we get the best actor possible to play Batman in the DCU. A superhero that rivals our Superman's love and adoration as the character. Robert Pattinson. Merge it up already. I don't care how many times Matt Reeves and James Gunn tells me it can't happen. Make it happen. Nah, just kidding. I'm not a delusional fan. Once I'm proved wrong, I'm not gonna make up stories and say it's secretly happening anyway. I'm just joking, and I do respect Reed's decision to keep it separate, and I understand why he wants to do it, but I'll always think it was a miss. And I have Robert Pattinson's Batman and David Corensmith's Superman on screen together. Cinema. That would be cinema. No, that'd be a dream come true, as they're both incredible in their roles. But I'm not mad to have two Batman. I've always been on board and totally fine with that idea. However, I'll always be a murder bro in the heart, you know what I mean? I'm so incredibly excited for DCU Batman, and I love how James Gunn and his team are building out this universe. But what about you? Are you excited for a separate DC Batman, or do you still wish it was Robert Pattinson playing our canon Batman? What is your favorite Batman fan cast from the ones I listed in this video? Do you have any favorites I didn't list? And what do you think of my ratings? Let me know in the comments. Until next time.